Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to have been late to this hearing. I was at an armed services hearing talking about entirely different but nonetheless very serious issues. Uh, it seems what I'm most interested in is timing. We're in a race, and we're in a race that we're losing right now. And how soon? Let's put aside utilization of the carbon that we remove, and I want to focus on carbon capture in the burning of fossil fuels and carbon removal from the atmosphere, which is ultimately going to be necessary if we're going to win this race because of the persistence of carbon in the atmosphere. Dr. Anderson, give me some hard numbers. What are we talking about for when we have a carbon capture technology that, for example, would be cost effective on any fossil fuel plant? And the second question is, how far are we away from being able to actually remove carbon from the atmosphere, not capture it in the process of burning fossil fuels?
Well, Senator Kaine, thank you so much for that question. Right now, given 45Q and a real concrete price point and price incentive, which is a bit analogous to the ITC or PTC tax credits on solar and wind, there's tremendous commercial interest today, given the technologies where we are today. The driving down the price curve, which as I mentioned earlier, I do believe there is a potential for continued decreases in the cost curve, requires getting it out into the commercial scale, and the commercial sector needs those concrete, financeable incentives to capture carbon. And so 45Q is a step. The follow-on steps would be the price of carbon and those price signals that folks can go to the bank. And so, in short, I'd say it's as fast as we can construct those projects that are applying to 45Q today. And then as they are deployed into the market within the next 10 years, we will be driving the cost of capture down, and I think we'll achieve a $30 price. As far as direct air capture, it's much higher up on the price curve. And so when it comes to the price paid for carbon, whether it's a 45Q tax credit, we have a longer way to go to drive down the cost of direct air capture.
Do you think that when we're talking about capture, that by the time the capture technology is cost effective, we'll be out of the fossil fuel, at least in the electric generating business? The president today is announcing a goal of 50% reduction in 9 years. So it may be that the technology becomes available at a time when there are no more fossil fuel plants. Is that a possibility, or will there always be fossil fuel plants?
I believe because of resiliency and reliability issues, and also considering the deployment curves of the non-fossil emitting electricity generation resources, as we move to higher and higher levels of deployment, we need on-demand firm power generating assets. And so those assets will likely be fossil energy with carbon capture moving into the future. We are in the midst of a lot of natural gas plants being built today, and natural gas with carbon capture has a great potential of providing that firm power in a carbon-free basis with carbon capture.
I fully understand the importance of backup power and to solve the intermittency problem. But again, we're talking about a 5 to 10 year time frame. We may see dramatic developments in storage or in a new generation of nuclear power, which could provide that backup. But it's certainly a dynamic market. I'm encouraged about the timeline on carbon capture. I'm discouraged about the timeline on carbon removal, because in the long run, that's going to be necessary. We could stop all carbon in the atmosphere tomorrow, and we'd still have a problem. As you know, we're pretty much beyond the tipping point.
Yes, and so that will perhaps we need different levels of carbon incentives to make it economical for direct air capture or other carbon removal technologies.
Do you believe that a price on carbon in some way, as some kind of carbon price and dividend would be a important policy initiative.
Well, if we are to decarbonize our economy, we do need price signals that the private sector can run to the bank and are bankable in order to decarbonize. In terms of the policy mechanisms, there are a number of ways to get to the end goal, but some signal on carbon itself is necessary.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.